Number 1, Phil Spector. Genius to convict, Phil Spector was more than a famous name in rock music. He was the man who reshaped how records sounded forever. Before understanding how far he fell, you have to understand just how powerful he once was. At his peak, Spector ruled pop music. He created the legendary Wall of Sound, a production style so rich and overwhelming that it transformed simple pop songs into massive emotional experiences. He crafted hits for the Ronettes, the Crystals, and the Righteous Brothers. When the Beatles were struggling to finish Let It Be, they turned to him. He worked closely with John Lennon and helped shape Imagine. For decades, Phil Spector wasn't just part of music history. He was music history. But behind the fame, the sunglasses, and the tailored suits, something dark was growing. Paranoia, control, and violence slowly replaced creativity. This series explores 10 legendary musicians who crossed a line they could never return from. Icons who went from sold-out arenas to prison cells. If you believe the truth behind music should be told honestly, no matter how uncomfortable, subscribe now and support this investigation. The warning signs around Phil Spector existed for years. They weren't subtle. They were ignored. His obsession with guns was well known. Studio sessions often turned terrifying. He reportedly fired weapons indoors, threatened artists, and used fear as a tool of control. What many dismissed as a rock and roll madness was something far more dangerous. Spector lived like a recluse in Pyrenees Castle, a fortress in Alhambra, California, surrounded by walls, guards, and isolation. On February 3, 2003, he left that fortress searching for company and ended the night at the House of Blues in West Hollywood. There, he met actress Lana Clarkson, who was working as a hostess. Lana had once been a rising star in cult fantasy films, but Hollywood is unforgiving. That night, Spector persuaded her to return to his mansion for a drink. She hesitated, then agreed. It was the last decision of her life. About an hour after arriving, the chauffeur waiting outside heard a single gunshot. Moments later, Spector walked out holding a firearm and reportedly said, "I think I killed somebody." Inside the mansion, Lana Clarkson was found dead, shot through the mouth. The scene was brutal and unmistakable. Almost immediately, Spector changed his story. He claimed it was suicide, then an accident, then suggested Lana was unstable. But during the trial, multiple women came forward with eerily similar stories, being trapped, threatened, and held at gunpoint inside his home. The first trial ended without a verdict. The second, in 2009, did not. The jury stripped away the costumes, money, and myth. Phil Spector was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 19 years to life. He died in prison in 2021, alone, disgraced, and remembered as both a musical pioneer and a killer. His story proves one thing: talent can delay justice, but it cannot escape it. Number 2. Jim Gordon, the drummer who lost his mind. If you've ever loved the sound of classic rock, you've heard Jim Gordon. He wasn't just a drummer. He was the pulse behind an era. From Pet Sounds to Imagine, from George Harrison to Steely Dan, Jim Gordon was... And the haunting piano ending of Layla made him immortal. On the outside, he had everything: fame, wealth, respect. But inside his mind, something terrifying was unfolding. By the late 1970s, Jim's behavior became alarming. He froze mid-performance. He stared into nothing. He believed people were poisoning him. He violently assaulted his partner, Rita Coolidge, shocking those closest to him. Jim tried to get help. He entered hospitals. He begged doctors to listen when he spoke about voices in his head, voices that never stopped screaming. He was treated for addiction, not for the severe paranoid schizophrenia destroying his mind. In his broken reality, those voices took a single form. His own mother, on June 30, 1983, Jim drove to her home, convinced he had to stop her to survive. What happened next was horrifying. He attacked her with brutal force, killing the woman who had loved him his entire life. And police arrived. Jim didn't run. He calmly explained that he had silenced the voices. He believed he had saved himself. At trial, psychiatrists confirmed he was legally insane, but the law offered no mercy. Jim Gordon was sentenced to 16 years to life in prison. He spent decades behind bars, still hearing the voices, refusing parole hearings because he believed they were part of the conspiracy against him. He died in prison in 2023. His story raises a painful question. Where does guilt end and illness begin? Final outrow as requested. If stories like this matter to you, stories that explore music, tragedy, and the dark side of fame, make sure you're subscribed. Like the video, share it with someone who loves music history, and join us for part 3, where we dive into the chaotic world of punk rock and uncover the truth behind Sid Vicious and Nancy Sponge. Is subscribed to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss a new video.